Hey Eric, so we're two dads with one mission, and that mission is to help dads across the world. So let me ask you a curious question. How's your mission going?
Hey, Steve, that's a good question. My mission is going really, really well right now. And I know that because, so part of what I do as a coach is I put out content on social media. And that content has been basically attracting connections into my life with people that are really aligned with who I am and what I'm about. So specifically, what it has led to is a client of mine was attracted by my content. And then I just recently completed my second interview on somebody else's podcast. But both of those people were attracted by my content. And then also yesterday, I connected with a guy that's starting a Facebook group to help men. And he's been watching my content for quite a while. And so when I reached out to him, he immediately wanted to connect and have a conversation. And that led to me becoming an admin on his Facebook group. And we're going to, kind of work together on that. And so all of that to say, my mission is going great because I'm aligned. And that brings just an amazing kind of energy into my life.
So more on that in a moment. But first, hello, I'm Steve.
And I'm Eric. And together we are two dads with one mission.
Welcome to the Allied Dads podcast. This is the show for dads, all about fatherhood, faith, and freedom, one conversation at a time. And on this week's episode, Eric just mentioned about being in alignment and the level of energy. But let me ask you a question. Has there ever been a time where you've not been in alignment, almost maybe a disconnect, and that's been energy draining? So let's expand on that, Eric.
Yeah. So misalignment is a terrible place to be for the most part. Sometimes it's where you need to be, maybe because, well, in my own life experience, I went from one type of business that had to do with digital marketing, and it was more of a business to business kind of category, to transitioning into becoming a coach, which is, a very different kind of business model. But during that transition, I struggled a lot, feeling misaligned, not sure what I wanted to do. And so, one of the key things that I did that helped me move from misalignment to alignment was getting great clarity on my values. And so I did a values assessment, and some of the things, it kind of confirmed what I already knew, but then other things were really brought to light, and it helped me to just feel extremely confident with what I valued in life. And so then that started to lead to alignment. But I guess to answer your question, misalignment is one of the biggest energy drains that you can experience in life. Everything seems like a struggle, whether it's with your family or trying to be a dad or your work or whatever. It's the kind of thing that makes you not really want to get out of bed in the morning and all that. When you're aligned, you tend to kind of hop out of bed and it's like, all right, let's get after this today, and that's the difference.
Yeah, I mean, when you're aligned, it's like you have this you described it as this alignment energy. It's where you're aligned with kind of your values. So let's just talk about values for a moment. What are values? Values are the things that drive you forward. It's the things that are important to you. Yeah. And because they're important to you and they drive you forward, it's what gives you kind of that purpose in life. So we're always either working in alignment or misalignment with our values, and either getting results or not getting results, in our life as we move forward. So when we're aligned, what you described there, you're aligned, you get this this kind of alignment energy. It's like everything becomes effortless. Yeah. It's like everything becomes just an automatic process. It's effortless. And it's the kind of thing, and you find yourself doing the things, and time just disappears. Time just fades away because it's so effortless. You could do those things over and over again for hours
and
on
the
end. And
energy
sometimes
the energy just keeps you going. Like, you know, I've had days where I don't even eat sometimes for hours and hours and hours, you know, because it's like I'm just good to go. You get like in a flow state, right? People talk about flow states, and when you experience that, that's where I want to be most of the time.
yeah, yeah. And when you're misaligned, you know, it's not as effortless. It becomes, you know, it becomes less easy and more difficult to get things done. You know, it's almost like they feel like they're chores. It's not things that you want to do because
Yep.
they have this excitement, alignment, energy associated with them. It's things that you have to do or you must do. You know, simple chores around the home, for example. You know, you have to do them to kind of keep the household, you know, running.
Right.
Things we do as fathers as well, you know, as dads. There's certain things we need to do as dads, and they're less enjoyable, but you kind of have to do them. So, you know, you find yourself with this misalignment and like a disconnect energy, and things don't flow as easy. And it's very easy for other what I call negative emotions
Sure.
to kind of crop up, and
Oh, yeah.
negative states of energy. Things like, you know, it's more likely for things like procrastination to creep in, those moments of mischief, you
Yeah,
know,
because
when
your brain
you're
is
not in
literally
alignment.
resisting what you want to do, and so
Yeah,
that leads to procrastination, and so
yeah,
that leads to, like, you know, if you find yourself procrastinating about something, it's because you don't value it. If you
yeah,
wake up in the morning and you just naturally do something, you know, like one of my primary values is health. So when I wake up in the morning,
yeah,
nobody has to tell me. I don't have to set prompts on my phone or little post-it notes here and there to remind me to drink water, take my supplements, or to eat certain ways. I just do this because I'm internally motivated.
yeah. You made a really great point there, Eric, with something that you said that bears repeating, just in case the audience didn't pick up on it. Um, if you're a procrastinator, you know, a constant, you know, leading procrastinator out there, let me just dispel one myth about procrastination. Procrastination doesn't mean you're lazy. It
That's right.
doesn't.
It doesn't.
Procrastination means the thing that you're putting off, you don't value it. It's just not important to you. You're not aligned with it. And therefore, you know, your mind will find any other shiny object, scrolling social media, reading the news, you know, doing anything else but the thing that needs to be done, because you're procrastinating about it. And that's just because you know you don't value it. But sometimes we have to do the things we don't value because that's how life works. You know, we have to
Yeah,
get
Steve.
things
So
done.
that's something that is really coming to the surface for me here. Is, you know, I'm in the middle of, or I'm in the kind of like the process of building a business, and there's aspects of building a business that I don't like,
Mm.
and I find myself procrastinating about those things. And so, but instead of like beating myself up and like, oh, I'm lazy, or I'm, you know, these negative words I might use, what it is for me is feedback,
Yeah,
and the ability to identify these are the things I don't like doing about my business. And so my goal is to, as soon as I can, outsource those things to somebody else. And that way I don't live in a, you know, in a fantasy world where I think, oh, I can live in this blissful aligned state 24/7. That's not the goal. I want to stay there as much as I can, but there's things that need to be done in life, you know, and you know, you may not love them, but they need to be done. It's just about staying there as much as you can in the things that you love. But like I said, my goal, at least business wise, is outsource the things I don't love doing, so I can spend
yeah,
more time doing the things that I do love. So
yeah.
see it as an opportunity, not like a not like a negative.
It is. You know my sense of humor, Eric, and obviously our audience will get to find out my sense of humor as we go forward. One thing that kind of flashed across my mind as you were saying that about outsourcing the things you don't like in business, it's like, look, as fathers, if we don't like the household chores, we can outsource them to our kids.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, yeah. You know, absolutely. And plus, look, that's good for them to learn responsibilities. You know, my daughter recently turned 13, and I'm upping the level of responsibility that I'm putting onto her, and the things that I'm, you know, my expectations for her are increasing as it should. And so yeah, I'm looking for, you know, I don't love folding clothes and washing laundry, right? So she's learning. She is learning.
Yes. So I guess what's springing to mind now, Eric, is we've talked about these polar opposites, alignment, misalignment,
Yeah.
things that resonate with your values, so the things that you find important, and those things you find that are not. But is there something we can do? Is there like an audit, a self-check? Is there something along that line which we can share with our listeners, which is gonna help them getting a little clearer, I guess, on where their alignment, misalignment, and on where their values are, the things that they value, which are ultimately the things that you value. If you do more of those, are going to drive you forward in the direction and purpose that you want to go in life. And on the other side, if you continue to do the things that you don't value, I'm not talking about the chores, but I'm talking about, habitual patterns, which we do on a daily basis, things that do not serve us, do not make us happy. They're going to hold you back from progress in your life. Yeah. So is there some sort of a check or an inventory? What can we do, Eric?
Okay. So I'm going to throw out a few words here, and then I'm going to answer your question. So the words are alignment, values, passion, and purpose. And I'm going to say unequivocally, because this is my belief, you cannot get in an alignment without knowing your values. And I think those two come first. And then once you know what your values are, then you can really crystallize a meaningful purpose and mission for your life. Okay. So having said all that, to answer your question, how does somebody go about figuring out their values? I think there's two ways. One, you can just get a piece of paper and as you go through your day, think about what you do naturally. It doesn't require any external motivation, just things that you naturally do. And then also think about things that give you energy and things that take energy away from you, and just make notes of those things. Okay, that's kind of the quick and dirty way to do it. There's also like full-fledged values assessments that are a tool that will really extract from you through a series of questions and analysis what you truly value. Okay, so if that interests you, go ahead, you can reach out to me and I can set you up with that. But I think taking the time, even just with a piece of paper and evaluating what you do without external motivation, will move you in the direction of really starting to understand what you value.
Yeah. Eric, listen, you mentioned energy there a moment ago. I know you've just done like this energy challenge, which I've seen your Facebook post recently.
Yeah. So I just started doing what I'm calling the Change Your Energy Challenge. And it's a 30-day challenge, but it's real non-invasive. So the idea is, and I've got a document created. It's just a 4-page document. It's all built out. If you want me to send that to you, I'll be glad to do that. You can start this thing anytime. It doesn't have to be beginning of the month or anything like that. What you're doing is you're going to ask yourself 2 questions toward the end of each day for 30 days. And the questions are, what gave you energy today? And what drained your energy today? And then at the end of the 30 days, and of course, I think prior to the end of the 30 days, you will start to see patterns. But at the end of the 30 days, there's 3 questions that you're going to ask yourself. And the questions are, what patterns do you see? What are you going to do more often? And what are you going to stop doing? And that's it. So it's just a quick, kind of a quick and dirty. I mean, it's over 30 days, but it'll only take you a few minutes a day at the most to just jot down what gave you energy and what drained your energy. And like when I wrote this down yesterday, it was kind of a tough reality check, because my daughter, I mentioned she's 13 and she's kind of going through these funky moods, and she was kind of in this negative space. And so I literally had to write down that my own daughter kind of drained my energy. That sucks. It doesn't feel good. I'm not excited about that. But the opportunity here is, how do I help her fix that?
Yeah, I think you've really just raised a potential topic for a future podcast as well, Eric, because that is a minefield there. But there are people in and around you that will drain your energy too. So
Yeah.
on that thought, Eric's got a really great exercise. I know he's just gone live on his socials with this challenge. Rewind the podcast and listen to the questions again. Eric gave you all the instructions there. However, if you want the paper copy, then I guess the easiest way to get a paper copy is, we'll give you some details on how to connect with us at the end of the episode. Coming up next, so the next episode is going to be probably moving on. It's a nice little segue there, unintentionally, in terms of the energy. It's probably energy part 2, which is, podcast number 8 is change your energy, change your life.
Yeah. So we'll dig into the energy thing more.
Yeah, so how can people reach out to us, Eric? Where can they find all the resources? And if they need to hit you up for your energy challenge sheets, how can they do that?
Yeah, so just go to allieddads.com. All of our contact info is there. And man, we'd love to hear from you. And if you have any suggestions for things you'd like us to talk about on this podcast, we'd love to know that. We're really here for dads, and we want to provide some meaningful content in a short period of time for you. So connect with us.
Yeah, so it just helps me to say again, we're 2 dads on one mission. Subscribe and find us on your favorite streaming channels.
Yep. Thanks, Steve. It's been a good conversation.
Yep. See you again on the next episode, folks.
All right.